Yo, what is going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the MLB main slate on DraftKings for Thursday, April 26th. We do have an early and a late slate for today. The early slate has 5 games. The main slate, the night slate, has 4 games. We'll be covering the night slate, the 4-game slate. We'll talk about some pitchers on the slate, some batters we want to target, and then at the end we'll talk about some BVP plays, some stacks to go to as well. But yeah, before we do get started, make sure you guys drop a like on the video. I would really appreciate it, and if you are new to the channel and you have not clicked that subscribe button yet, make sure you do that as well. Make sure you subscribe. Be sure you turn on post notifications so that way you won't miss out on any of my new videos. You will get notified every time I upload. But pitcher today, definitely have some good pitchers on this slate for it to just be 4 games. We got Chris Sale, Dylan Bundy, Chris Archer, even Jacob Junis, Kyle Hendricks, Chase Anderson. Not a ton of gas cans on the slate for it to be just 4 games. I figured we at least have a couple gas cans. Definitely our worst pitcher on this slate is Lucas Giolito, and he's probably going to be the pitcher that we want to target with opposing bats, so the Royals are probably going to be a team we look to. But yeah, starting up top at pitcher with Chris Sale. He's $13,000 on this 4-game slate. Gets a matchup with the Blue Jays. I do like paying up for Chris Sale on this slate. Anytime it's a short slate and there's a stud like Chris Sale, like Kershaw, I just kind of pay up for him. You really just, on short slates, you kind of just want to take raw points. Chris Sale's going to get at least 25 DraftKings points in this matchup. We know he has upside for way more. I believe he's put up like 12, 13 strikeout games before against the Blue Jays. They've really struggled to hit Sale. The Blue Jays definitely have strikeouts in their lineup pretty much from top to bottom. Chris Sale will be going up against a lot of righties. I believe their whole lineup right now, the Blue Jays, their whole projected lineup has all righties in it. But these are still guys that will strike out versus Chris Sale. They really don't have a chance, I feel like. The only guy that has hit Chris Sale well is Kendrys Morales. He's 10 for 34 with a 294 average, 3 home runs. But then if we look at like the guys that have done poorly, Russell Martin's 0 for 14. Kevin Pillar is 5 for 22. Devon Travis, he probably won't be in the lineup, but he's 2 for 10. We look at the PVB. The Blue Jays are only hitting a 220 average versus Chris Sale. Through 132 at-bats, they've struck out 35 times. So Sale has been able to get the strikeouts against the Blue Jays. I think he's going to get the strikeouts here. I can easily project him for 20 to 25 DK points. Pitching, I could see him pitching 6, 7 innings, 8, 9, 10 strikeouts, getting a win. Definitely possible for Sale here. So I like paying up for him on this slate. There are SP2s you can pair with him that won't cost you a ton of salary. You're definitely going to need some value bats today if you want to pay up for Sale, but there aren't like any expensive stacks you really want to go to. The 2 teams that have the highest implied run total, at least as I'm recording this video, Wednesday night at 10 o'clock, we don't have any Vegas information on the Cubs-Brewers, but right now, the Royals and Red Sox lead the slate in run total. Red Sox implied score 4.8 runs versus Marco Estrada, and the Royals are at 4.7 runs versus Lucas Giolito. So those are probably going to be the 2 teams we target. Obviously, the Red Sox have expensive bats, but you definitely got some value from the Royals today. Even got some value from the Red Sox if you look towards the bottom of their lineup. They got value with the Royals today to where I don't think we really have to try and really pay up for expensive bats and go cheap at pitcher. You could still play like Sale and Bundy and definitely can make that work. But I won't be doing that. I do like going Sale and Archer today. I really like Chris Archer here against the Orioles. I think Archer has a lot of upside in this matchup. There might be some risk here. Archer might not be the safest play, but going up against the Orioles lineup that definitely has a ton of guys in their lineup that will swing and miss, that will just kind of chase balls out of the zone. Mancini, even Machado, Adam Jones, Chris Davis, Valencia, these guys will definitely strike out a lot. Pedro Alvarez will strike out. You don't love the ballpark in Camden Yards. You don't love the fact that Archer's going to be on the road because he does pitch a lot better at home than he does on the road, but I still like him here versus this Orioles team. They definitely have swings and misses, or definitely has strikeouts in their lineup, guys that will swing and miss. Archer, we know, has upside. Could definitely rack up strikeouts here. If you want a safer play, I'd say probably get up to Bundy if you can, or go down to like maybe Kyle Hendricks or Chase Anderson for safety. But Archer, I just think has a lot of upside here and could really see him putting up a big game. So I'm rolling with Sale and Archer as my 2 pitchers. And then if we want to look for other options, I do like Dylan Bundy here versus the Rays. I think Bundy is another guy that has a ton of upside. We've seen Dylan Bundy really pitch well this year. Been very consistent, been very good for fantasy. Through 5 games with the Orioles this year, he's got 26, 23, 28, 17, and 28 DraftKings points. That one game where he got 17, that was a matchup with the Red Sox. very tough matchup. This is a really good matchup today versus the Rays, a team that's not doesn't have a very imposing lineup, has a lot of strikeouts in their lineup. I believe these teams did play. Okay, no, they didn't. But I thought Bundy pitched earlier this year against the Rays, but I was wrong there. But anyways, I do like Bundy here. Just feel like he has a lot of upside. If you let's say we plug him and Sale in, that leaves you 3,400 remaining per player for your bats. You could make that work. But if you go with Archer as your SP2, that gives you a little bit more salary. But if maybe some value opens up, if we get guys cheap leading off or something, batting towards the top of the lineup, then we probably could go Sale Bundy. But for now, I'm going Sale Archer. When it comes to like cheaper SP2s, if you don't want to play Archer but you still want to play Sale, I think Kyle Hendricks or Chase Anderson could both be viable options. If I have to pick one, I'd probably lean Kyle Hendricks here just because he's going up against the Brewers, a team that does have strikeouts in their lineup. But this lineup has definitely improved, especially towards the top. Now, when you get to like the bottom with Aguilar down to the pitcher, like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, there are definitely a lot of strikeouts there, but it's pretty scary up top with Kane, Yelich, Braun, Shaw. A lot of power, not a ton of strikeouts at the top of the lineup. I think these teams played earlier. I think Hendricks did play the Brewers earlier this year. Yeah, he did play the Brewers in Miller Park and really struggled. But this game's going to be in Wrigley Field, a much better pitcher's park. Would not be surprised if Hendricks went out and got 15, 20 DK points here. Kind of got the job done for you. Don't mind playing him with Sale if you want to do that, but I do feel like guys like Bundy and Archer, even though they're more expensive, they have just way more upside in their matchups. But yeah, that's really it for pitcher today. The pitchers that I'm looking to target. Now if we want to look for some hitters, we are definitely going to need some value hitters since we kind of really spin up at pitcher. All my plays for today are going to be pretty much cheap plays, all value. The first guy I like is Lucas Duda. He's 3,600 in a matchup with Lucas Giolito. I do like this matchup for Duda. I like this matchup for a lot of these Royals bats. Giolito, I would say, is definitely the worst pitcher going on this 4-game slate. So we do want to get some exposure to the Royals. They do have expensive bats in their lineup with like Merrifield, Moustakas. But you also got some value here with Duda, even like Sal Perez. At catcher you could play John Jay. I like a lot today leading off, projected bat leadoff, only 3-2. Got some value in this lineup. They have one of the highest implied run totals on this slate. Lucas Giolito, I feel like it's not that good of a pitcher. So I like Duda here at first base. You're looking for a value play, 3,600. I think he makes a lot of sense, especially if you want to play Sale today. And then my next option, another really cheap value play I like at third base, Yolmer Sanchez, 3,100 in that same game, but on the other side, going up against Jake Junis. Now, I do think Jake Junis is a pretty good pitcher. I don't think he's like a gas can or anything. But we need some value on this slate, and that's where I think Yolmer Sanchez comes in. He's been hitting the ball well lately, been very good for DraftKings when it comes to fantasy. Last 4 games, he's got 14, 17, 3, and 17 DraftKings points. I believe he's on a little bit of a hit streak. I think he's got hits in like 5 consecutive games. He's been hitting the ball well. The guy has speed. If he gets on base, he will steal bases. So just has a lot of upside. I believe he's projected bat second, so should get plenty of at-bats. Only 3.1K. Some really good value here, I feel like. I don't think the White Sox are going to like crush Jake Junis and put up a ton of runs, but you can definitely find some value in that lineup with guys like Yolmer Sanchez, guys that have upside. Moncada, he's 4.4 on today's slate, and I do really like him here if you can play him at second base. Moncada's just been hitting the ball so well lately, been stealing bases, been hitting for power, just really been doing it all. I like him at second, like Yolmer as a cheap third baseman you can use. 3,100, think he makes a lot of sense for value today. Then I mentioned John Jay. He's a guy that I really like for value as well. He's only 3,200. Projected bat leadoff for the Royals today. Now, John Jay is not a guy I usually play just because he's not the most attractive option. He doesn't have a ton of power. Doesn't have a ton of upside either. But we're going to need some cheap bats on this slate since we played Sale and Archer. And that's where John Jay comes in. Just because he's cheap, he's going to lead off. Should get at least 4 to 5 at-bats for the team that has probably the highest implied run total on the slate by the time lock comes. I feel like the Royals, their run total could increase as the day goes on. Might see it get up to like 5 runs. So I just really like Jay here. Like some of these value plays from the Royals with Duda, obviously. Sal Perez, Jorge Soler if you want to play them. Whit Merrifield, Moustakas are a little bit more expensive. Kind of don't want to pay that much for them when we got these expensive pitchers. But finding the value in that lineup I think is key for today. So like John Jay, 3,200 in the outfield. You need a value play today. I think he does make sense. But yeah, guys, these are my 5 plays for today. Chris Sale, Chris Archer, Lucas Duda, Yolmer Sanchez, and John Jay. Now if we want to look at some stacks and some of the teams that had the highest implied run totals on this slate, Stacks for me, it's not a ton. Obviously, it's a 4-game slate. Mainly the Royals are the team I'm looking at just because they're the team that I can kind of fit in with my pitchers. I like the Red Sox. I think the Red Sox will put up runs versus Estrada, but it's going to be hard to play these guys if you want to play Chris Sale and a sort of mid-range SP2. Mookie, Benintendi, obviously these guys are good plays, but it's going to be hard to fit them in. You can look towards the bottom of the lineup with Devers, Nunez, JBJ, even Vasquez. You want a cheap catcher option. Got some value there, but the Royals are the team I'm really looking at because they have value kind of from top to bottom. So the Royals are my number one stack, and that's really it. Not going to be stacking the Rays, not going to be stacking the Orioles, not really going to be looking to go the Blue Jays. The Brewers and the Cubs, I don't think that game's going to be very high scoring. I could see a pitcher's duel there with Hendricks and Anderson, so kind of going to be avoiding that game when it comes to hitters. Mainly looking to the Royals and Red Sox today for stacks. Then if we want to look at some BVP plays for today, there isn't a ton, a 4-game slate. We're not going to have a lot of BVP plays, but we do have some with decent samples. Chris Davis is 7 for 28 with 3 home runs versus Archer, 250 average there. Hanley Ramirez, 8 for 27 with 1 home run, a 296 average versus Marco Estrada. Mentioned that Morales BVP earlier versus Sale. Albert Almora, 3 for 10 versus Chase Anderson with a home run, 300 average. Chris Bryant, 6 for 18 with 3 home runs versus Chase Anderson. Travis Shaw is 5 for 15 versus Kyle Hendricks with 3 home runs. I do like Travis Shaw today. I do like him from the Brewers if you want to play him. He's got some solid BVP. Kind of cheap as well at 4-2 versus Hendricks. But that's really it for BVP. Now if we want to look at PVB, pitchers that have done well in their matchups that are on the main slate. Chris Sale, I mentioned his PVB earlier. Estrada, he's done well against the Red Sox. The Red Sox have struggled to hit Estrada, only hitting him for a 176 average over 153 at-bats, but I still do like the Red Sox today as a stack. Kyle Hendricks has done well against the Brewers, and Chase Anderson has done well against the Cubs. Could definitely see going to either one of those guys as a cheap SP2. Think I prefer Hendricks, but both guys do make a lot of sense. Both of them have done well versus the opposing team they're going up against. But yeah, guys, that's really it for BVP and PVB on this slate. And that is it for this video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. Hopefully you got some good information out of it. Hopefully it makes you a little bit more prepared for tonight's slate. And if you did enjoy the video, then just make sure you click that like button down below. If you have not subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe as well. And if you do have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT, or you can just leave a comment down below. And I will get back to you as soon as I can. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And good luck tonight on this slate, guys. Peace.